the Willie Muff Jr. Show, 4 hours of pure inspiration. Of course, when your nephew says pure, it simply means that we keeping it 100. Family, you know I'm a big-time adoption and foster care advocate as I continue to travel the world to inspire people and to always remember the 123,000 children who are available for adoption, as well as the 23,000 children who will be aging out of the foster care system this year. Of course, you know we produced a film called The Missing Piece, and of course, that brought attention to the adoption and foster care system. And be praying, family. We're going to be doing Anthony Hamilton's story. I say that by faith. And of course, we're going to be doing the one and only Les Brown story. I say that by faith. But listen, speaking of stories, this young lady, I want to let y'all know she got one heck of a story. The one and only Chasity Harris is here with me. What's going on, my love? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing today?
Man, you know what? I'm doing good. You know, we trying to just keep it drippy and good.
Okay.
Chasity, listen, to my listeners out there, just, you know, kind of tell them a little bit about yourself, where you from, a little bit about your story, and, you know, let's just get into this conversation.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chasity Harris. I'm from Region 3, born and raised in Floyd County. I am a member of Georgia Peers Advocating for Change under the Family Children Services first ever Youth Advisory Board in the state of Georgia.
No, that's good. That's good. Tell me a little bit about living in foster homes. If you don't mind sharing, if you feel safe sharing, and just tell me a little bit about what that situation was like for you.
Well, it wasn't like I had the option of living with my biological parents or with my biological family. So it was not odd for me. It's normal. It's normal for me. I don't see it as a different life or anything like that. When I was younger, I did. I grew out of that. Can you guys see me?
Yes.
I grew out of that. I dealt with a lot of character flaws growing up as a child, looking like my mother and her having the rep that she did, and everyone expected me to be like her.
So when you talk about your mom, and you know, of course, you are welcome to say, hey, I don't want to share that part. What type of reputation did your mother have?
Well, my mom, she was an addict.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I have 2 older sisters on my mom's side, and then I have a younger sister and a little brother.
Wow. Wow. So Chasity, there you are with this quote unquote stigma over you, and you decide that's not the route that I'm going to take. What type of support did you get to make sure that you stayed on the right track?
I mean, it's a long, complicated story. And as far as support, I had support from a lot of different areas that I didn't realize then that I do look back and realize now. I had support in school. I did a lot of things, so I didn't have to go home too. So I was involved in a lot of things. I was on the step team. I was a cheerleader. I was on the unarmed drill team. I did travel ministry.
Wow.
So I did a lot outside of home so I wouldn't have to go home. I stayed in the church on Sundays till 6 p.m. with the pastor just so I wouldn't have to go home.
Wow. You know, and listen, you know, sometimes I understand a lot of these things are uncomfortable. So I would like to build a bridge with your heart. Like I was adopted, like I never met anybody in my biological family. So I didn't get an opportunity to have a stigma or a non-stigma because I had never met anybody who even looked remotely like me until I was 40 years old. You know, and so I dealt with a lot of character flaws as well. Like if the hood was going, you know, doing whatever they was doing, I was right in the forefront of that. If we were in church, I tried to be the best. So I literally lived in my imagination, not really discovering who I was until I'm 41 years old. You know what I mean? And so I do understand, like staying at church till 6 o'clock, always wanting to be the best, always trying to show out just so you can get the attention that you need. Cause that's the type of person I was. Like, I thank God that I was able to become successful with me trying to show out, you know what I mean? But I just, you know, I have a heart for people's story. I have a heart for what people have overcome, and also just a heart for people who are in the foster care system right now to kind of know some of the things that they can do. And so the one thing that you did, if I could just kind of pull that nugget out, you always made sure, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, like you always stayed connected with organizations and processes that kind of kept you outside of the home to make sure that you could, you know, be who you needed to be. And I really, really, really do appreciate that, because a lot of people just meander in the maze of mediocrity. So did you ever have any mentors that you can kind of think of now? Like if it was just one person that sticks out to you, like, man, he or she played a monumental role in my life.
Yes. And so growing up, it was this nurse I had, and I haven't talked to her in years, but she sees my foster mom, and it's a long story to me. So I'm going to give you a little background before I go like right into that. I left my foster home at 15 by choice. I testified against my mother that I had. That's still my mom. She's the only mom I've ever known. And, you know, I'm grateful for her, but I testified against her because of the things that were going on in the home. I no longer wanted to be in the home. I wanted to be in the group home. I wanted to see something different. I felt like I was losing myself with my character flaws and just everything that was put on me inside of this home and inside of my school, which takes me to the support that I did have. When I was in elementary school, I went to Southeast Elementary School. Love that school. They shut that school down.
You smiled too when you said Southeast.
Yes. Yeah, that's my home. You know, I left home at a young age at 15, like I said, but Nurse alone, I used to go like and cut myself with pieces of paper and just like do whatever just so I can go see her and her tell me that, you know, I'm pretty and I'm good and that I'm a good child and all these things because, you know, growing up in the system, there are some parents who love you, but people have their own flaws as well. And I felt like flaws from adults were put onto me inside of that home and inside of school with other kids and bullying and just trying to figure out who I was. I found out at a young age that I was not a part of the family that I was in because of someone in the family. And you know, it wasn't like a, you know, let me break it to you like this. It was more like a, you ain't even in this family. You adopted, you a foster child. Your family didn't even want you. It was all that. It wasn't, you know, like, well, you know, we love you, like you are family and we want you here. It was more so like, you just here because you ain't got nowhere else to go.
Wow. What did that do to
your
heart?
That energy, it broke me in pieces. And still to this day, I'm dealing with that, with relationships. And I realized that a couple years back, like back when I left the home around 15, more so around 13, but I didn't understand it. But I'm still dealing with that today, and I'm 22 now.
Wow. So. You know, the thing that really stuck out to me is what the nurse did. Like you were willing to endure pain for some words of affirmation. And so to everybody out there who's listening, like I want to let you know, like for a foster child or an adoptee, like your words mean so much. And those words like cut us differently than it cut other children because we're always working with a vulnerability. And so you could say something to somebody else and Joan and play and do all that other stuff, but for us it hits our hearts a little different. You know, Chasity, the thing was I found out that I was adopted when I was 7 years old. And mine wasn't all cute either. Like I was literally out in the neighborhood. My mom never really let me go out with people, but we were on our way to a grocery store and she let me go with the neighbors and they were singing a song saying, I don't mess with adopted kids. And they were singing. And so I just started singing with them. And then finally they stopped and said, well, Willie, you know, we talking about you, like you adopted. And I was shook. Like, I ain't know. I was like, are you serious? Like how could, you know what I mean? So I ran, told my mom or whatever. And then they finally broke the news. And I never forget that moment, how heartbroken I was to know that people made fun of my situation instead of supporting my situation. And so I commend you for being honest and vulnerable about the fact, like, man, that still bothered me today. Something that I was able to do is I realized that adoption was a step up, not a step back. This was a promotion, not like I'm not the trash. Like if people went through what I went through at the age that I went through it with, they'd be dead right now. But because God still kept me, covered me, and showed me a new life, I gotta be successful. And that's why I go out here with all my might, soul, and energy to make sure that I'm gonna be highly successful, come back and tell other foster children and adoptees, like, bro, you can go out there and do it too. Like, let them laugh right now. Later on, they're gonna call you boss, manager, or supervisor is what I always say. And believe it or not, that's what they have to call me now. And I thank God for that. You know, Chasity, as I wrap up here with you, I just want to tell you, like, you such a special girl, and like the calling that's on your life is literally like so unique. Like you're going to get an opportunity to speak to young girls in a way that most women won't be able to speak to young girls because what you've had to endure. And so what I want you to start doing, if you're not doing it already, I want to make sure that you're journaling, that you're getting your thoughts out on paper, because what I see for you is literally you're going to be an author. You're going to be a speaker, and you're going to travel the world, and people are going to be so compelled by your story. You're actually going to speak to mothers who are actually on drugs, and you're going to show them the effects of what that has on a child, and you're going to have the power to get that demon and break free, get them to break free from their habit, because they're going to get a chance to see the pain and the love in your eyes, and they're going to say, I'm not going to do my little girl or my little boy like that, all because of what God trusted you with. It's a very strategic plan that he had for your story. Children come from God, they just come through parents. It's just like you can go buy a Bentley from a used car dealership, but it's still a Bentley. It came from Bentley. It was still handmade. So it's the same with you. Like, God was very strategic when he made you. Who cares where you landed when you got here? It only matters what you do with the story that you have. Last question that I have for you, Chasity. If there's a child out there right now who's enduring some of the things that you and I had to endure, what would you tell them to make them feel a little bit more confident about their situation?
Keep your head up. Beauty, beauty can come from ashes. And, just believe in yourself. Don't listen to what other people have to say about you. Stay true to yourself, stay true to your heart. And, just keep the drive that you have. Embrace what it is that you've been through, and embrace where it is that you're at with people. You don't have to lie, or you don't have to front or act like someone else. Just be yourself, be beautiful, like you were beautifully made in the hands of God. And, just remain humble and keep your head up, smile. Don't be afraid to smile. Don't be afraid to see the brighter end on the other side. You're going to go through things, but things are temporary. And
Yeah.
time doesn't stop for nobody. Like, life goes on. The day is not going to stop because we're having a bad day, or I'm having a bad day, or, I'm sad. Reach out to people. If you are suicidal or depressed, or you had some things said to you when you was in a home or a group home or a school, or, and you wasn't in a group home, you're not in foster care, you're just a child, still reach out to people. Some people don't talk about things that they're going through, and it's a lot deeper than what I'm saying right now. And I know it sounds cliche and people don't want to hear that, but it's true. And at the right time, when you need it, you're going to hear it. And it's going to speak to you in a way that you never thought it would speak to you. And it might change your life. Like, listen to people when people are talking. Don't listen to respond, but just truly listen and try to understand where other people are coming from. Because at the end of the day, what goes around comes around. And as long as you're doing good out of the goodness of your heart, God's got you.
Yeah, yeah. Chastity, listen, I love you to life. She's hanging out with me. Listen, I don't even know if this is the right thing or the wrong thing, but I'm sure there are a lot of young ladies who would love to follow you on social media. I don't know if that's legal. If not, we'll be able to cut it out or what have you. But if you would like people to follow you on Instagram, how do they follow you on Instagram to track your journey?
You can follow me at Cyrah Harris, CSIRRAHARRIS, or you can follow me on Facebook at Chasity Harris, CHASITYHARRRIS.
Go on,
Or
Chastity.
if you're going through something, you could email me at chastityharris909@gmail.com, and I'll email you back.
Indeed. Make sure that you follow my sister. She's doing some big things, making sure that children like us are supported. You have the support at your fingertips. Make sure you use it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, Chastity. I appreciate you, honey.
You're welcome.
Indeed. Flat out. Yeah.